Hi there everybody! The SNES is one of my favorite systems of all time, and I recently put out a video where I went over 10 out of 10 turn-based JRPGs for the system. But I got so many comments wondering where various action RPGs were on that one list, even though it was turn-based. But you wouldn't believe the amount of comments, like, for real, it was kind of ridiculous. So I thought to myself, you know what? That's a kind of a good idea. I will go over 10 more 10 out of 10 action RPGs for the SNES, and we're going to be going through them just the same way, in release order. First up, number 1, Evo Search for Eden, released in December of 1992. This is such a cool frickin' game, and there's really been nothing released quite like it. Here, you begin as like a really basic creature in 5 different epochs as you evolve and change throughout the evolution of the world. You start out as a tiny fish in a primordial ocean, only to then evolve into an amphibian later, and then a reptilian dinosaur before you finally enter the age of mammals. And here you can choose whether or not you'd like to evolve into a bird and take to the skies, or just become a ferocious beast, or even become a human. It's really interesting and fun to go to all the hidden areas and play around with the evolutionary system as you evolve your creatures into an apex predator. I love this game, and it's just so unique, and like, can we get a remake of this? Just imagine what a game like this could be like today. Give me an open world Pangea to explore as you choose your own evolutionary path. How amazing would that be? Number 2, Illusion of Gaia, released in November of 1993. Real talk, can we get a Heaven and Earth trilogy remaster on the Switch? Please? They still hold up today, and this is the first of 2 that we'll see here in this list. The game follows the adventures of Will as he goes around the world to some real and some fantastical ruins, such as Angkor Wat, the Great Wall of China, and the lost continents of Mu and Atlantis. Armed with only his trusty flute and his powers of telekinesis, Will's journey of self-discovery and coming of age will stick with you as he grows up, journeys, makes friends, and struggles to save the world. You wouldn't think so, but this actually tackles some pretty heavy issues too. And to aid him in his quest, he also gains the powers to transform into 2 different forms, the powerful knight Freedan, or the liquefying magical ninja Shadow. And hey y'all, if you're liking this, please be sure to smash that like button and subscribe for some more great content. And with that, number 3, Demon's Crest, released in October of 1994. I always loved the Gargoyles Quest series back whenever I first played it on the Game Boy, and then later on the NES, and this is the culmination of the trilogy. But it takes massive liberties from the 8-bit formula, because Firebrand is now in a completely non-linear adventure through 5 main stages, and it's just deliciously dark. Vials are now much more useful, as you can buy items for healing, reviving, shielding, and escaping, as well as damaging spells. Also, that hover meter is gone too, so you can fly over an entire stage if you want to. And our resident gargoyle can even transform into other altered beast forms, which grant him all sorts of different abilities and powers to not only beat up the ghoulish enemies, but thoroughly explore the hauntingly morbid stages. This is just an awesome Metroidvania-esque action RPG through and through. Number 4, Super Adventure Island 2, released in October of 1994. Talk about a super surprise and a series complete 180. My first experience with Adventure Island was back on the NES, and while that game was as basic as you could possibly get, and also, pretty terrible to say the least, this is a whole other beast. You have a fully explorable world map with random encounters, akin to something like Zelda 2, as well as elemental-themed weapons and armors, magic spells, and non-linear gameplay. Not just in the level design, but insofar as your choice of which levels to go to first. This game is the true definition of a hidden gem, especially whenever you're not expecting the franchise to do a complete genre flip-flop. But while Zelda 2 genre flip-flop was a, flop, this is decidedly not. I just wish that they continued the series in this vein, because this game was amazing. Number 5, Trials of Mana, released in August of 1995. I wanted to have Secret of Mana on this list as well. There's just so many great action RPGs on the SNES, and I did want to represent as many as I could, so instead of having both of these games on there, I just chose one to represent the series. Because here, you get 3 different storylines with 6 different characters, And in addition to that, each character has multiple classes that they can ultimately change into, so that allows for a metric ton of replayability. There's also an intricate day-night system where your powers change depending on the day of the week. Nowadays, though, there is a remake released for more modern systems, so if you do have access to those, I would recommend playing the remake. However, the original still does stand the test of time as not only one of the most beautiful games on the SNES, but more importantly, one of the most fun. Number 6, Terranigma, released in October of 1995. Like Trials of Mana before it, Terranigma did not come out in America, though it was translated into English and released in Europe. And that's quite a shame, because it's one of the best action RPGs on the SNES. This is the conclusion of the much vaulted Heaven and Earth trilogy, of which we saw Illusion of Gaia earlier. Terranigma is different though, because this takes place in the real world, only the world is sealed, and you have to resurrect the continents, the animals, the plants, and the people. The story follows Ark, a mischievous boy from the underworld who accidentally turned everyone in his village to stone. He then sets out to rescue them, as well as restoring the lost continents of the upper world. The gameplay is action-based, where Ark uses varying techniques to fight with his elemental spears to curb stomp those baddies into the ground. The story, and watching the world evolve and grow and change right before your eyes, and do solely based upon your actions, is really satisfying. Number 7, Secret of Evermore, released in October of 1995. Okay, so now it's time to turn the tables, as this is one of the very few Square titles that was exclusively released in America and not in Japan. Here you assume the role of a boy who's whisked away to the magical land of Evermore, which is divided into 4 distinct time periods: Prehistorica, the land of dinosaurs; Antiquia, an ancient Roman-inspired land; Gothica, a medieval European-themed realm; and Omnitopia, a futuristic world. What sets this game apart is its alchemy system. Instead of merely learning spells, you acquire alchemy formulas that you can cast using ingredients that you find or purchase from shops. Additionally, your trusty dog can help sniff out alchemy formulas and ingredients. I personally loved experimenting with the various hidden formulas, trying them out, and then witnessing the effects that they produced. This is just such a unique, whimsical take on an old classic formula. Number 8, Tales of Fantasia, released in December of 1995. Here we have the game that actually started 2 franchises, both of which I love, and for that I will be forever grateful. It's hard not to compare Tales to Star Ocean, because the 2 of them are just so similar in gameplay, but rest assured they are both here on the list, as they are superb examples of the SNES's power towards the end of its life cycle. But here is where the now iconic Tales series began and introduced many series staples, such as the Yggdrasil tree, skits, lively towns, fun characters, and thrilling combat. Mode 7 was also used to great effect, and it really is fascinating to see where the series began, though do keep in mind that there is an amazing PlayStation 1 remake out there with completely rebalanced gameplay and full voice acting too, and if you're going to download a translation patch, you kinda might as well download that one. Number 9, Front Mission Gun Hazard, released in February of 1996. Do not be fooled here, because while you might think that Front Mission is synonymous with tactical RPGs, this one is an action RPG through and through, really having nothing else to do with any of the other games in the series. In fact, it's not even in the same timeline, so here you're going to be instead focusing on platforming and shooting antics, as you go through over 90 missions, steamrolling your enemies in your Wanzer, gaining experience as well as money to upgrade your unit. But eventually, you'll also get an AI Wanzer to tag along in your missions, and if you have 2-player co-op, you can play along with one of your friends. How cool is that? And finally, number 10, Star Ocean, released in July of 1996. Add to this the long list of gems that just did not leave Japan, and although I do distinctly remember reading about it in Nintendo Power, it was all just a tease. Developed by dissatisfied members of the Tales of team, the series took a lot of inspiration from it, but sets its story in a sci-fi universe. It's super ambitious for its time, as it follows a group of friends on an underdeveloped planet who are under attack by a mysterious disease that turns people into stone, and the only way to cure them is to travel 300 years into the past with the help of futuristic Earthlings who can travel through time and space with their advanced technology. RPGs back then never really took like a futuristic route, but that changed here with Star Ocean, And now that the sequel is getting an HD 2D remake, maybe it's time to go back and see where it all began. So that's it for 10 out of 10 SNES action RPGs. Which ones did you like the most? What other 10 out of 10 action RPGs can you think of? Let's get a discussion going on here, and let's all talk and chat about it, because I would just love to hear what you have to say. And if you like what I do here on the channel, please head on over to the Patreon to sign up for early access to my videos and behind-the-scenes photographs. The link to it is in the video description. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good day.